There is so much good news, so much winning out of the Trump White House right now that the mainstream legacy media can't keep up with.
Karoline Leavitt has just thrown another massive legal bombshell straight at The View, and this time the chaos at ABC is off the charts. The second lawsuit, filed in rapid succession, has the entire network spinning out of control, and insiders say it's only going to get worse. In this shocking new legal attack, Leavitt isn't holding back. She's coming for reputations, careers, and possibly the entire future of the show. The lawsuit accuses the hosts of The View of launching a targeted smear campaign designed to publicly destroy her character, while already being sued for doing the exact same thing. ABC is reportedly in full-scale panic mode, holding emergency meetings and calling in legal and crisis PR teams around the clock. Producers are furious, executives are stunned, and the pressure is so intense that even longtime staff members are saying this could be the beginning of the end for the iconic show. And who's at the center of this storm? None other than Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and Sunny Hostin, who are now facing the fallout of their own reckless on-air behavior. According to insiders, Whoopi is visibly shaken.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
It's not good for anyone. And it's not good for poor folks. It is not good for y'all because you become slave fodder. It's not a good thing. It's not good for women because you are now being told and dictated to. And you can't say anything because they, throw you in a jail or whatever.
Behind the scenes, while Joy has allegedly been lashing out at staff during closed-door meetings. This isn't just another spat between a media figure and a daytime talk show. It's a full-blown legal showdown that's dragging ABC's biggest names into the courtroom spotlight. Leavitt's team has brought receipts, video clips, transcripts, and behind-the-scenes messages, all building a devastating case of retaliatory defamation. The lawsuit makes it crystal clear. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was personal. It accuses The View of doubling down on their attacks even after knowing they were already in legal trouble. That's not just unprofessional. It's legally dangerous. One line in particular has lit up social media like wildfire. Whoopi allegedly said, "She's lucky we let her on the show at all." That comment, captured on national television, may go down as one of the most damaging quotes in daytime TV history. Legal experts are already weighing in, and the consensus is brutal. This second lawsuit is far more dangerous than the first. Why? Because it proves a pattern. The first case could have been brushed off as an error, but the second one shows they simply didn't care. ABC's legal team is reportedly combing through every second of the show's footage, every email, and every offhand remark, searching desperately for any way to shield the network from what's starting to look like a legal catastrophe. And the advertisers? They're running scared. Major sponsors are pulling out one by one, terrified of being dragged into the controversy or linked to defamatory behavior. Some have even gone on record saying they'll pause all advertising until the matter is resolved. The View's team, once known for witty banter and bold takes, is now facing accusations of professional bullying and targeted harassment. The backlash isn't just loud, it's global.
President Trump's life echoed the sentiment that President Trump is a threat to democracy. And if you're a deranged lunatic and you're mentally ill, you will believe that lie. And yes, you will take political violence like we have seen in 2 instances against President Trump. Last week, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris said that everyone who showed up to President Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden was a Nazi. That's despicable, dangerous, divisive rhetoric that is spewed by the Democrat Party every single day.
Comment sections are exploding, petitions are flying, and longtime fans are turning against the show. What's worse is that ABC allegedly saw this coming. A leaked internal memo reportedly warned the hosts to avoid inflammatory remarks related to the lawsuit, but they ignored it. Now the network is facing the consequences of letting their stars run wild on live TV. And in the middle of it all, Karoline Leavitt remains calm and collected, refusing to make public statements or interviews. Her silence is deafening and strategic. While the hosts spiral, she's quietly letting the lawsuit and the facts do all the talking. Now, instead of focusing on daytime drama or celebrity gossip, the ABC staff is stuck in legal chaos, internal blame games, and non-stop meetings with attorneys. One insider said, "We used to laugh about lawsuits. Now we're seriously Googling severance packages." Security around the studio has even been doubled, not because of threats, but because the situation has spiraled so far out of control. Executives are afraid of further disruption from angry fans and media watchdogs. The fallout from this second lawsuit isn't just shaking up The View, it's rattling the entire foundation of ABC's media empire. Insiders say top-level executives are in a complete meltdown, with sleepless nights and round-the-clock crisis calls becoming the new normal. And here's where things get even messier. Legal analysts are calling this case a precedent-setting storm that could change how talk shows handle controversial guests forever. Because when Leavitt filed the second lawsuit while the first was still active, it turned a media scandal into a legal nightmare. This isn't just defamation anymore. This is retaliatory defamation during an open legal proceeding. That's like walking into a courtroom and spitting on the judge. It's reckless, arrogant, and incredibly risky for a billion-dollar brand. According to newly leaked documents, Leavitt's legal team is armed to the teeth with evidence. Quotes, recordings, emails, even social media clips. Every second of that broadcast is being treated as ammunition, and the case they're building could be explosive. And the hosts? They're reportedly spiraling behind the scenes. Joy Behar has allegedly snapped at producers multiple times, furious that her jokes are now legal liabilities.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Meanwhile, Sunny Hostin is unusually quiet. Some say her legal team advised her to stay silent before things get even worse. Whoopi Goldberg, usually unbothered and confident, is now facing the biggest media crisis of her career. People close to the show say she's privately fuming that no one stepped in to cut the segment before it aired. But the damage is already done. Even veteran producers, those who've worked in television for decades, are calling this the most reckless moment in live TV in years. One senior staffer reportedly slammed a binder on the table and shouted, "This is what happens when people ignore warnings." ABC's internal Slack channels are lighting up with panic, confusion, and desperation. Staff are sharing the leaked memo like wildfire. The one that clearly told the hosts not to comment on the lawsuit. But they did anyway, live, for millions to see. And what about the viewers? Public sentiment has flipped faster than anyone could have expected. Longtime fans of The View, many of whom once defended the panel's outspoken style, are now calling for resignations and complete restructuring. Petitions demanding Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and Sunny Hostin step down have gained serious traction online. Thousands of signatures are pouring in daily, with people furious that no accountability has been taken, even after 2 lawsuits. Advertisers, terrified of being caught in the crossfire, are ghosting ABC's calls. One insider says a major ad partner backed out of a multi-million-dollar deal less than 24 hours after the second lawsuit was filed. This isn't just embarrassing. It's devastating for the network's bottom line. Worse yet, a well-known brand reportedly told ABC, "We don't advertise on shows being sued for defamation, especially not twice."
Think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists, but they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
That kind of public rejection stings, and the financial consequences could stretch for years. And Karoline Leavitt? She hasn't said a word since the lawsuit dropped, and that silence is driving the network crazy. Because while they scramble to contain the fire, she's calmly watching it all unfold, letting the facts and footage do the damage. Legal commentators from across the spectrum are speaking up, and shockingly, even some left-leaning voices are starting to question the ethics of The View. One MSNBC contributor said, Karoline may be controversial, but she's exposing a media problem that's been ignored too long. That quote alone sent Twitter into a frenzy. The hashtags users sue the view, ya media accountability, and chom justice for Karoline have dominated political trends for days, turning this case into a viral moment that's impossible to ignore. YouTubers, TikTok creators, and podcasters are dissecting every angle, every legal motion, every snarky remark made by the hosts. Suddenly, old clips of The View are being analyzed like evidence in a criminal case, frame by frame, word by word. And let's not forget the behind-the-scenes chaos at ABC. Multiple sources say that marketing budgets have been frozen, new segment development for The View is on hold, and upcoming promotional events have been postponed indefinitely. Some staff members say the morale has hit rock bottom. "No one's joking around anymore," said one anonymous producer. "We're walking on eggshells. Everyone's waiting to see who gets fired first." The big question now, what does ABC do next? 3 dramatic options are reportedly on the table: suspend the hosts, settle the lawsuits with public apologies, or cancel The View entirely and start fresh. Each of those 3 options comes with serious consequences, but insiders say ABC might not have a choice anymore. The pressure is crushing, the backlash is unforgiving, and the damage to their brand is already showing in the ratings. Suspending the hosts could offer temporary relief, but critics would slam it as too little, too late.
I don't care if he's pooped his pants. I don't care if he can't put a sentence together. Show me he can't do the job, and then I'll say, okay, maybe it's time to go.
After all, these weren't accidental comments. They were public, proud, and repeated while a lawsuit was still in progress. Settling both lawsuits would mean paying out tens, maybe hundreds, of millions of dollars. On top of that, they'd have to issue groveling public apologies, retract entire segments, and beg advertisers not to run away permanently. And canceling The View? That would be the most shocking move of all, the nuclear option. But according to several sources inside the network, it's seriously being considered. That's how deep this legal nightmare goes. Some board members are reportedly pushing for it, arguing that The View has become too toxic, too unpredictable, and too legally dangerous to keep on the air. "It's not just a daytime talk show anymore, it's a liability," said one insider. Even if they don't cancel the show, major changes are now inevitable. Contracts are being reviewed, legal language is being rewritten, and top talent is being warned. One more mistake, and it's over. The scariest part for ABC, this could trigger more lawsuits from other guests who've been mocked or misrepresented over the years. If Karoline Leavitt wins, it opens the door for others to come forward, with lawyers ready. That's why legal experts are calling this a media reckoning, because if this second lawsuit succeeds, it could redefine what's legally acceptable on live television, and it won't stop at just The View. Every talk show, podcast, and influencer could feel the aftershocks. Platforms that used to operate with zero accountability are now under the microscope. What was once seen as hot takes and bold commentary is now being reframed as character assassination, and the legal world is watching closely.
Divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world. You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and sex and all of this other BS, quite frankly.
Meanwhile, Karoline Leavitt continues her silent strategy, refusing interviews, skipping media circuits, and letting the court documents speak louder than any soundbite ever could. And that strategy? It's working because the silence is thunderous. Every day that ABC doesn't act, the storm gets worse. Public trust is eroding, sponsors are fleeing, and even loyal viewers are tuning out. This show used to stand for something, one former fan tweeted. Now it just stands for legal drama and arrogance. Even longtime media defenders are finding it harder to stay quiet. The facts are too damning, the clips too clear, and the legal documents too sharp to ignore. What started as a feud is now a landmark legal war over platform power and media responsibility. And here's the truth that ABC never saw coming. Karoline Leavitt, once brushed off as a token conservative, is now the force pulling back the curtain on daytime television's ugliest truths. She didn't just fire back, she brought the receipts. Now, everyone's asking the same burning question. How did ABC let it get this far? How did they let one moment of smug commentary spiral into 2 lawsuits, a sponsor exodus, and a full-blown media scandal? Because while The View's hosts laughed, mocked, and rolled their eyes, Karoline Leavitt built a case, brick by brick, and now she's watching the empire tremble. This isn't just about one woman versus one show anymore. It's about narrative control, legal limits, and the consequences of arrogance on live television. And whether ABC cancels The View, revamps it completely, or tries to survive the storm, nothing will ever be the same. The media world is shifting. The walls are cracking. The audience isn't blind anymore. And neither is the law. So here we are, at the edge of a historic media moment. The next chapter could bring firings, settlements, or total collapse. And Karoline Leavitt? She's not done yet.